My husband, 48, Tom, and I, 42 female, have 3 kids. About 3.5 years ago, our oldest, almost adult daughter Taylor, started dating Rob, 19. I know they were young, but Rob is a really nice kid and treated my daughter well. Right after they met, Rob's parents got divorced. As a result, his dad moved to the other side of the country and his mother struggled with mental health issues. His 2 younger siblings went to live with his grandparents, but they didn't have room for Rob, so he would go to live with his dad. He was devastated to leave his hometown, Taylor, and his friends. Taylor and Rob asked us if Rob could move into our in-law apartment. We spoke with Taylor privately and asked if Rob was pressuring her into allowing him to move in, and she said no, it was her idea. We also told her to think really hard about it because once we agreed to take him in, we would be responsible for him, and that would mean he would be staying as long as he needed. She thought about it for a few days and then said it would be okay no matter what. She's usually a level-headed kid, so we thought we had made the consequences of this decision clear. After setting some ground rules, we thought it over for a bit and agreed to allow him to live in the apartment. The apartment is an entirely separate unit, with its own utilities and kitchen, bathroom. The unit is separate but does have hotel-style adjoining rooms set of doors. We decided not to charge Rob any rent or utilities in exchange for following a specific set of rules. In the beginning, Rob wasn't allowed to have guests at the apartment, including Taylor. We didn't let him set up the living space, and instead, they would have to use the main part of the house to hang out together. Rob was always welcome to have meals with us, and we treated him like another member of our family. Rob is now finishing up his first year of a local college, and Taylor is a senior in high school. 5 months ago, Taylor and Rob broke up, and she started dating Joe, 18, almost immediately. Since the breakup, Rob usually stays in his place. He only occasionally comes over to help my husband with various household chores. A week ago, Taylor came to us and told us that Rob's presence is making Joe uncomfortable and that we need to ask him to leave. We said no to kicking him out, but we said we would set up some new rules to make everyone more comfortable. We said that from now on, Rob would use the living space in the apartment and would have to call before coming over. Taylor said Joe is still unhappy about this. The only thing that will make Joe happy is for Rob to be gone. I might be the idiot because I told Taylor that this was obviously between her and her boyfriend. The solution is not tossing someone out on the street. She got even more upset with me and said I was ruining her senior year and she might end up dateless for prom if Joe breaks up with her. Not the idiot. If anything, it's kind of mean to ban him from coming into the joint space without calling, since you're kind of the only support system he has right now. It sounds like he barely comes by, as it is, and already feels uncomfortable and unwelcome, so this is just making it worse. He hasn't had a living room this whole time and isn't allowed to bring people over. He's abiding by the family rules, and now that your daughter is being a brat, he has to pay for it. I get he's 19 and technically an adult, but I can't imagine being that age and realizing I have no stability or consistent support. So you asked Taylor to think really hard about it when she was 15 years old because she was a level-headed kid, and you made the consequences of this decision clear? I wouldn't say you're the idiot, but putting this responsibility on a young girl is ridiculous, even if she displayed heightened levels of maturity and foresight. Not the idiot. I'd be worried though. Joe sounds controlling. If he doesn't live there, it's none of his business who lives in your house. I could understand if you were trotting Rob out to hang out with the family every time he came over, but it sounds like he just started dating your daughter and has already started throwing his weight around. Not the idiot. You offered a compromise and she rejected it. Rob is a tenant now. If they were sharing a room, it would be different, but he's in an apartment. Unless the adjoining door leads into her room, Taylor shouldn't be bothered. Also, is her boyfriend going to dump her because of a decision her parents make? Good riddance. Not only not the idiot, but you probably can't really kick him out at this point. He's a tenant, and you agreed to rules, and as far as I can tell, he hasn't broken them. What grounds do you have to kick him out? Seems like doing so would be shady and maybe even illegal. My husband and I are expecting our first baby. I'm about 3 months along. We're both very excited. The problem is we live in a very small town, and I hate the doctors here. Only one will deal with a pregnant woman, and I think the doctor might be the worst I have seen. The doctor avoids work at all costs, yelling at staff if they get called into the hospital late at night because it wasn't that big of an emergency. She had cancelled 3 of my appointments so far, saying she's scared to have clients because of the global issue. We haven't had a case in a 100-mile radius yet. She is just lazy. So I decided to go back to my old family doctor in the city with my parents. I've been driving into the city for appointments. I suggested to my husband that I go live with my parents during the last month, just if the little one decided to be early. And my husband can come to stay too, once he starts his paternity leave. My husband likes my parents, and they have what used to be an apartment in their house, so we would have privacy. But my husband is calling me a selfish idiot who just can't get along with people. He's scared if I go during the month, he will get to be there as it is a bit of a drive. Even my girlfriend has said maybe I should just try to get along to keep the peace. I just don't want to deal with that doctor. If I end up in labour before the last month, I would be sent to the hospital in the city anyway, because they don't have the facilities for that level of emergency. Am I the idiot for forcing this choice of doctor? I don't understand why this OBGYN would even be open for business if she cancels because of global issue. It's not like it's new news. And if you can barely even see her, what's the point of even having her as a doctor? I don't know why you should have to deal with a terrible doctor during labour. Your husband's a jerk for telling you you're the one who can't get along with people when clearly that doctor has issues. Not the idiot. Never choose the worst doctor for your pre- or postnatal care. Never let the person who isn't pregnant dictate how the pregnancy is handled. Go to your parents before not an emergency turns into a deadly mistake for you or your baby, OP. Not the idiot. When he's pregnant and able to give birth, then he can choose the doctor. Your husband is calling you a selfish idiot for preferring to actually like and trust the doctor who will literally hold the life of you and your unborn child in their hands? No, honey. Anyone who criticizes you for that is 100% the idiot. It's not a crime to want to, survive childbirth. Far from it. Not the idiot. Pick the doctor you feel most comfortable with. Your husband can just deal. I'm sure he would rather be slightly inconvenienced by driving distance than risk you or the baby being mistreated or harmed in any way. One would hope, anyway. Everyone's the idiot here. He's the idiot for calling you an idiot for wanting good care. You're the idiot for not including him in the discussion and for wanting to be away from him when you go into labour. By saying you'd rather stay with your parents for up to a month or more, you are showing him you don't prioritise taking the journey together. You'd rather have a different doctor than him. That's got to feel rough for him. My fiancée, 23 female, and I, 22 male, had our baby girl Talia a few months ago. Everyone in our family has been coming around more to see her. 2 months ago, we stopped talking to my parents after they pulled a few stunts. We basically decided it would be up to Talia when she's older if she wants to get her ears pierced. To be honest, I was never into the idea of it being done as a baby when they can't consent. My fiancée's parents pierced her ears when she was a baby, and she always hated wearing earrings. Still doesn't wear any. Like every other parent, that was our decision not to do it to her while she was a baby. My parents didn't shut up about it for a while, saying she'd look so cute, but we told them already no, and that's our answer. When they babysat for us once, they got one of my mum's friends to do it, and we were so angry they went behind our backs. We stopped talking to them after that for disrespecting our decision. Everyone said we were making a big deal and can't cut them out of their granddaughter's life over something like that. So we decided they're allowed to only see Talia when one of us is around, and they won't be left alone with her. That's where everyone is still saying that we're being massive idiots because we're still punishing them over something that's not a big deal, and we're treating them like children. Even my fiancée's parents think that only letting them have supervised visits is too much. They should be allowed to babysit or have Talia at their place alone like before. We're still not wanting to change our minds on our conditions, so it's pinning everyone against us. Are we being idiots that we just don't trust them alone with her, and instead one of us be there always? Not the idiot. I wouldn't be leaving my child with them ever again. My mum cut my daughter's fringe and I lost it. This is another level altogether. What's going to be the next thing they decide they know better on? They're lucky they're even allowed to see her, to be honest. Holy moly, just think about what they've done. They permanently damaged their granddaughter's ears to put jewellery in them, which can cause an infection and possibly kill the child if it was not done with sterile gear. If the granddaughter doesn't like the piercings when she's older, they permanently ruined one of the main parts of her body. That's absolutely absurd. You're not the idiot. Your parents are. While this particular event is not a big deal health-wise, their blatant disrespect to you as the child's parents is very concerning. If they're willing to do this in complete disregard of your wishes, who knows what else they might do? The compromise of not allowing them around your child without one of you present is a reasonable one. Ignore everyone else calling you the idiots in this situation. They are wrong. You are the parents of this child. Therefore, it is your choice. If they don't like it, they can pound sand. We lost our son Mason 5 years ago and our lives fell apart. I drank more, wouldn't talk to anyone. Eventually, my ex and I got a divorce due to our many problems, my drinking being a main one. That was my rock bottom, and I started trying to get better. My sweet Mason had a best friend he knew since kindergarten, Ricky. I lost contact with his family for a while, but a couple years after my son passed, Ricky started coming by the house almost every day after school. I was still recovering from my alcoholism around that time, so I feel it was to keep me company. He's honestly a great kid, very kind and so mature beyond his years. It helped a lot to spend time with him. Lord knows he was in pain too, losing his best friend so young. We have gotten pretty close and consider him family. Ricky is starting his senior year soon and going to be applying to colleges. I haven't told him yet, but I was putting money aside for years since before Mason was born in the hopes he'd use it for college. My parents gifted me the first check. It's not a lot, but it would be enough to cover several semesters, depending on where he goes. Ricky has no contact with his mom, even though she technically is the one who has sole custody. He's been living with his grandpa for years, so he's been worried about how he'll apply for financial aid. Don't want him to worry, which is why I wanted to cover for it as someone I consider family and someone who is my son's best friend. The problem is, my ex knows I had this money saved. She got remarried 2 years ago and her stepdaughter will also be starting college. My ex and I get along and we still talk, so I know she's fallen on hard times, both her and her husband. That's why she's asking if I could help her out here, and it would mean a lot to them. I was deeply conflicted about this until I said no, because I'd like Ricky to have this, but she's still urging me to change my mind, and asking, as the mother of my child, to please help her family. As I said, we get along and I have no ill feelings towards her family. This isn't about being petty, which is what she's starting to call it, but I know Ricky will struggle too and I'd like to help him. We've had arguments over the phone about this and she still won't drop it. Now she says she feels like I've let her down. Didn't think I'd be so unwilling to help them out after everything we've been through. I understand it's my money at the end of the day. I'd just like to know if I'm not being an idiot with her about this, considering she's asking for help. Not the idiot. She has no right to force you to help her stepdaughter out. You have no relationship with her at all. Even then, chances are she won't have such a positive impact on your recovery like Ricky has, even if the stepdaughter has a relationship with you. If your ex doesn't understand nor respect your decision and wants to make life difficult, you need to remind her she should be approaching the bio mom for help rather than you, and there's plenty of loans or scholarships out there to apply for. It's weird she expects you to be responsible for her stepchild. To be honest, OP's ex is being a hypocrite. She let OP down on tough times, and now she's mad at OP for returning the favor. Her stepdaughter didn't help OP through tough times, nor did his ex. That super nice kiddo did. Stepdaughter has 3 people to help her out. Ricky has 0, and will have to jump through a lot of hoops to get his mom's income ignored for FAFSA. It's OP's money and OP's choice. Not the idiot. Your ex has a lot of audacity to ask for money after your divorce. I understand the circumstances were hard, but she's moved on, and her issues are no longer your problem. You don't owe her anything. Ricky is the one that's kept you sane after everything, and it's incredibly kind of you to help him. This is how I see it too. It looks to me like she left him to sink or swim, and that was her right. Ricky was there throwing the life raft day after day, and it's the OP's right to choose to support him. I think his ex had a lot of nerve to even ask, but trying to browbeat him into it really is over the top. I try to do a variety of healthy foods. I always try to do new meals. I cook 7 days a week for 5, soon to be 6 people, well, more like a year and a bit after working on 5 of those days. I always have to cook 2 meals, 1 vegetarian and 1 meat, because my husband won't eat vegetarian. Every night without fail, he asks me to put it in the microwave to heat up later. Every night without fail, he'll wake me up at 10 or 11 to heat the food up again, knowing full well I'll usually have to be up in a few hours to feed the baby. Honestly, I'm sick of it, so I started buying him microwave meals. Husband has type 2 diabetes, so his sugars have been going a little higher than usual because he shouldn't eat unhealthy foods. We're obviously in disagreement here. His argument, he stays at home with our 3 children, infant and young children, which means he's tired and sleeps when I get home so he can't eat. However, I also work and get home and cook, do my housework, and still wake up during the night when the baby does. My friends agree with him, saying it's difficult to be at home with young children all day and it's his time to relax. I don't know why he doesn't do his food himself, but even then, I'm sick of doing a nice meal only to have him ruin it in the microwave. Am I the idiot? I'm sorry if I missed anything here, but your husband wakes you up at night so you can put his food in the microwave? Is this a joke? Does he not know how a microwave works? And what difference would it make if you bought him meals for the microwave then? I don't understand. Also, usually, the person who watches the kids does the meals since they're home and have access to the kitchen all day. This story wouldn't exist if you were the man and he was a woman, let's be honest. And also, and I know this sounds mean, but well, if you're both so stressed out, why did you have so many children and keep making them? It doesn't seem beneficial for both your mental and physical health. Why they have as many children is nobody's business but their own. As for the obese husband, he is using his diabetes as a guilt-tripping tool. If he wants to control his diabetes, he needs to get off his lazy butt and learn how to cook for himself. She should not have to do it all herself. When I was home with the kids, I didn't think that keeping them alive was my one and only job. Absolutely, some days were less productive than others. Still, I would never have expected to completely clock out the minute my husband got home, have him cook everyone dinner, and then have the audacity to wake him up to microwave it for me. That's insane. Okay, this is it. I have officially seen everything today. I have seen the husband that does nothing at home, not even fold his own laundry, and asks his wife, "What do I need you for?" I have seen the husband who expects his wife to waitress on a barbecue for his friends. She was not even invited to, and he told her she didn't pull her own weight when she didn't play slave for him. I have seen the husband who does not remember to comb his hair, brush his teeth, and feels his wife disrespects him when she calls him a child. And now, lo and behold, I see the husband who is incompetent in using the microwave to heat his own food. Goodness. Not the idiot. What do you need him for? My mum did all the cooking and cleaning and other chores 7 days a week and spent booked days off work deep cleaning the house, all while working full-time when my dad had retired early and was home all day every day. They never had a happy or healthy marriage. Don't be like that, OP.